I watch this zooming on TV, I always look at the background of where people are sitting. Who's in,
Yeah.
who's in their basement, who's in, so it's important. There you go.
We got Mary Ann too.
Did you guys see the guy with the cat? Or that was a
Yeah.
cat? Yeah.
That's my world. That's what I see every day at home. Hey,
Okay.
you're muted, Mary Ann.
Oh, happy birthday.
Hey, happy birthday to you too.
Yeah, happy birthday to Jane 2 days ago.
Yeah, and Mary Ann yesterday, both of us.
Yep, same day.
Should we
Yeah.
sing?
That's okay.
This isn't
We're
Kiwanis.
We're good.
All right, well, let's start the meeting. We need a roll call.
Larry Hatton,
I'm here.
Jane Held,
Here,
Kevin Cast,
Here,
Kevin Francis,
Here.
Marianne Lobner.
Here.
All right, and under public comments, I've got 2 thank you cards. One is from the islands employees that we gave them a gift card for the $10 gift card from all of us, and they sent a card saying, if you want to read it, there it is. They sent a card saying how happy they were to get it and grateful that we thought of them. And we also got a card from Mary Braymeyer. She sent a nice card again saying thank you for the certificate. So that's all I have on public comments.
I guess I technically had a public comment phoned in to me today from Mayor Snyder wanting us to know that volunteering at the vaccination distributions will very likely qualify you to get a vaccine because people don't show up. And so he was encouraging library staff to call to volunteer with the health department and potentially get a vaccine while they're doing it.
Okay. Sounds like a winner there. I guess we move on then to approval of the last month's minutes. Anybody have any comments? And if none, we need a motion.
I'll move.
Can I have can somebody second, please?
second,
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of accepting the minutes of last month as is, say aye.
Aye.
hi.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes approved. Staff recognition, we've got Courtney McGrath. She's 5 years old now. And that's good to know. And I think I'm 1 or 2 gift cards behind.
Yes, I will try to get those picked up next week and I will let you know.
Yeah, we just set your own pace. It's just, I know you've got a lot of things on your plate. It's a busy time of year for you.
Yep, everybody wants their reports. Every agency you can think of.
Okay. Review, discussion, and approve of financial report. So,
Things are going really well. You know, we have our temporary budget in there at the moment. We spent very little of that. We have really no issues at all this month. We don't have a bank reconciliation because I'm still in the middle of the year-end close with our accounting software from the state. And until I close last year, I can't do the bank reconciliation for January of this year. Last year, I managed to get it done before our board meeting in February, but with only working 4 days a week, that didn't quite happen this year. So should be within the next week. So next month, you'll have 2 bank reconciliations to approve. The one that's in here right now that Lindsay is scrolling to is actually December. We received a refund on sales tax from Costco for a purchase we made in November, but of course they didn't process the refund until January, which required me to, even though these numbers are absolutely the same, just moved between accounts. But it did force me to void the reconciliation and make the correction, or make the adjustment, and then do the bank reconciliation again, because actually we didn't actually receive the money until January. It's convoluted, but we had to undo the December one to make the software happy.
Okay. What was it, $100?
The sales tax was $26.60.
Oh,
And
Took me so much to do this that I actually have that number memorized.
and it cost you two man-hours of work to,
to
Yeah.
process 2660. You got it.
okay. Is there anything that you need us to approve?
I do need you to approve the expenditures for January, even though you don't have the reconciliation. That list is too long to actually include. Yeah, we've got the summary expenditures there. So we need to approve the expenditures for January, and then the ones for December, which, as I said, are identical. I just had to move things between accounts on that to set it up for the refund in January.
Okay, well then, we'll need a motion for that. Hello?
Jane
So
moves.
moved. Kevin
Jane
seconds.
moves. Okay.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of accepting the expenditures for January, say aye.
I
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Okay. Expenditures approved. Then, that's for January. You need another motion for December?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So moved. Kevin.
Okay, need a second?
I'll second Mary Ann.
All
I
right.
think so, right?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the expenditures for the December spending. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, those are done. Donations to the library.
Scrolling, scrolling,
Get a chance to get
scrolling.
that up. There we go.
Go.
Oh, oh,
We had quite a few. Marblehead received a $1,000 donation from Daniel Ego in memory of his brother, I believe it was. Lindsay?
Yes.
Okay. And then several others came through. So we had, $1,200 total, $1,285 for January for donations.
that's very nice. Okay. Director's report.
So one of the exciting things that happened in January is we were contacted by newspapers.com and ancestry.com. They're one and the same now. And they've been working with Gannett, who owns Port Clinton News Herald now, to get their holdings digital. And we have some of the holdings of the News Herald that the News Herald themselves do not have. So they have struck a deal with me to digitize basically all of our newspaper holdings that are in public domain or are under the ownership of Gannett for free. And we will have access to that in-house. We won't have access to that outside. And they even wanted to move along the project, so they paid for shipping of the microfilm to Ancestry, and they'll ship it back too. So it's going to cost us nothing. And that did get sent out last week, and we expect it to take about 6 weeks.
Wow, that's cool.
And so they've set up the portal, and that's up and running, but they haven't scanned anything yet, but we'll start seeing things in there in a few weeks.
That's good.
We have Winter Reading Challenge going on here and at Marblehead. They work a little differently at the two different locations. But people are participating in that and hopefully enjoying and having fun. We had a nice story from Sue Foster. She said that she had a patron who just turned 90 and is suffering from macular degeneration, having lots of trouble reading, which is one of her favorite pastimes. And even the large print books don't help anymore. So Sue was able to introduce her to Kindle Fire and give her a quick tutorial on how that works. And she can make the text much larger than a large print book and either listen to the books on there or even sometimes read, I guess. And so she's been enjoying that very much and reunite it with her reading. So that is a very positive story.
Yes.
Children's is keeping up with their online content, just trying to keep people engaged. Kristen made snow globes. Terry did some story times. They're doing take and makes. Elena had some recycled magazine baskets that she put out kits for. She tried a few other activities that would be live, like a virtual board game event, but unfortunately she didn't get anyone to participate in that, and a virtual escape room, and nobody participated in that either. So she's still trying to figure out how to get participation from the teens, but they don't seem to be interested in online. And honestly, with all the virtual schooling and stuff over the last year, I can't say I blame them.
Yeah.
Adult programming, Martha tried a different book discussion format. She did one like Books and Brews, where you discuss a book you're reading rather than read a specific book. I guess the group decided they would prefer to read a specific book, so she's going to start that again in March. Laura did a video on Facebook of some of her favorite movies from 2020. She's definitely our in-house movie guru. Out at Marblehead, they've been having their craft programming. Winter reading challenge is going well. It's not included in here, I guess, because it's happening this month, but Love Bug reading challenge for the kids is really cute, and that just started. So if you have kids in your lives, check that out. And Erin reported that they're finding that maybe they're serving a different function with holds, and sometimes feeling that maybe they are the kind of connection with the outside world for patrons who are feeling isolated. And when people call about their holds, they end up talking about a lot more. And so she just noted that and found that was interesting. At Erie Islands, Karen put together some pillowcase kits and did a video showing everyone how to sew a pillowcase with the materials in the kit. Gay had a really successful program where the teens could make a paracord bracelet. And so that's like, paracord is cording for parachutes, and you weave it. But that had really good results with the teens, and she made a video then showing them how to do that. And a big thank you to a volunteer out on the island, Tom. I will slaughter his last name, so I'll just let you all read it. But he has been a big help to her. Apparently he used to work on the line at Jeep and is very good with tools, and he's cut down changing out the stories at Storywalk, and has helped her with it the last few times, and his help is very much appreciated.
That's great.
Training, we still have quite a few webinars going on, with people still working from home occasionally.
On the training, are people sharing with each other which ones are good?
Sometimes some of that happens, but I think more often than not, no, it does not, especially since half of the team doesn't see the other half of the team,
Okay.
but perhaps we could.
Yeah, and in my lifetime, I've been to a lot of training, and a great deal of it was a waste of time. And every once in a while, a little duel comes by.
Yeah, Jan and I had one of those waste of times today.
Yeah,
The title did not match the content.
not in the least.
Yeah.
Statistics wise, we're down from last January across the board. One interesting thing, on Marblehead, they're actually up for physical circulation from last January. So that is great. It's not by much, but it's by a little bit.
Mm.
And considering the circumstances, I'd say that's impressive. And numbers from different things. I don't know how much the numbers are relevant at this point because the number of people watching a video for 10 seconds, I don't know how we capture what the actual impact is, but that's what we have to go with right now.
Looks like Kristen has a lot of popular programs.
Yeah, well, and
Yes,
Karen's
she does.
story time, kitchen chemistry with Sue Duff. Kitchen chemistry with Sue Duff, I think, has been one of our highest viewed.
And we've started sharing that. At first, we were just putting it on the Erie Islands Facebook page. Now we actually put it on all 3 pages once it's been posted to Erie Islands, and it's been well received on both the other 2 Facebook pages as well, though the followers there have appreciated it as well.
And I do have to give a shout out to Jan for coordinating our Facebook scheduling. It can be kind of a nightmare, but she makes sure that we have something every day at all 3 locations. And it takes her some time sometimes to get it all together, but she's doing good.
Thank you.
Upcoming programs, it's kind of similar to what we've been doing, trying to throw out some different things. But Blind Date with the Book is going over well at Erie Islands. People are excited about that. That's happening right now. Elena's doing a Valentine's Jingle contest for teens. So if you know any teen writers, send them her way. And we had a really nice article in the News Herald about what's going on and how we're operating right now. And it touched on all 3 locations. And that is the end of my report.
Okay. Any comments? All right, then, the committee reports. I don't know that we had any committee meetings. Do we need to have a committee meeting? That's a question to Lindsay and Jan.
At some point, Kevin asked me about this earlier today when we talked, Kevin Francis. We will need to have a finance at some point this year when we get into budgeting. And if you've looked at the agenda further down the line is a discussion of $15 minimum wage. It seems like one way or another that's going to happen this year. So that'll have to be considered. Policy and personnel might have to have a committee meeting. Also, depending on what happens with an agenda item to rework our personnel policies. But
Okay.
right now, I don't think we need one this minute.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to be lean on those meetings to respect people's time, and with this COVID thing, we can't sit face to face, and the whole thing seems like it's kind of a waste of time. That's a personal feeling, and you guys put me in charge, so that's how I'm managing it. Anybody else wants this job, just speak up. Okay, the silence is deafening. Items for discussion. Here we go. The CD.
Yes, we have a CD at US Bank. One's maturing next month and one's maturing in May. One of my items on my to-do list is to figure out, first off, what our options are. Do we just reinvest at US Bank in another CD, or do we have other options? What are we allowed to do, et cetera, et cetera. So I haven't had to deal with this yet. Since I've been here. So I'll get to learn a few more new things, make sure that we do everything properly and what's in the best interest of the library in terms of, I don't think we're going to get much interest, at this point, no matter where we go, but we'll try to get the best we can.
Yeah. Okay. The 2021 budget.
So up right now is the abbreviated version. If anyone wants me to put up the full version line by line, I can put that up. not much has changed from the temporary that we proposed. The biggest thing that changed is we cut down the interest rate because we know that our interest will be down this year. And we also learned that Star Plus, where we keep the bulk of our money and earn the best interest rate, we're going to have to pull our money out of that. The state has decided that that's not fair to use them. And from what Jan's being told, the state's working up something on their own. So in the meantime, our money will have to go back to Plain Star, Ohio, which doesn't earn as much interest. So that was the biggest change in the revenues. The biggest change in expenditures was adding in the potential to have the story walk out back. We wanted to have those funds in there if and when it happens. I do have a family who's very interested in contributing to that financially in memory of their sister. That is Kay Hofacker, in memory of Patricia Hofacker, who was a teacher in Port Clinton for many, many, many years. And she's really grasped onto that. And I think to the point where she even wants to help plan it. So she's been in to talk to me a few times.
Okay. Any questions on the budget?
I'm just curious, is our employee salaries and fringe benefits, are they generally 50% of the budget? Is that kind of standard?
I'd say probably yes.
I just think for.
It's definitely our biggest line item.
Oh, sure. Okay.
All right. And request for statement of qualifications.
Actually, on the budget, we do need to do a roll call vote on that so that
Well,
I do close out the year, I can put the budget in.
okay, so,
So we need a motion, a second, and then a roll call.
all right, we need a motion to accept the budget.
So moved.
Jane seconds.
Okay, roll call.
Larry,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Kevin Cast,
Yes,
Kevin Francis,
Yes.
Mary Ann.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay. Now the request for statement of qualifications.
So this pertains to, again, the story walk. Unfortunately, with Ohio Revised Code, for us to hire a landscape designer, we have to ask for a request for qualifications from landscape designers to send in their qualifications. And then we choose one from that list of people. And so to get the process started, we have to have something to give them to say we want this. So there's basically a statement that I put together with the request that has the details of what we're looking for, that I basically took from another public entity and fixed up to match what we need. I did add building renovation and restoration in there because at some point we do plan on doing some work inside the library. So maybe we'll get some of those people now and not have to do this again. We'll see. And then a legal notice to go out in the newspaper asking for those requests.
Okay. Are you allowed to send it directly to some architectural firms that we're familiar with?
I believe we are.
Okay. You know, I'm thinking like the one that helped us with the Marblehead structure, and I think Pogemeyer and what's the town? Where Bowling Green is, out at town of Bowling Green. There's Pogemeyer is a large engineering firm that might meet these qualifications, and they're the ones that are actually working on the city's streets.
Oh, okay, that's why I know that name. Yeah.
So that's two names that popped in my head when I read this. But okay, Then the item D, the personal policy update with Ohio Plan.
All right, so basically, back in the before times, or right as COVID was starting, Jan and I had talked to Ohio Plan, who is the library's insurance agent. They offer services for consulting, and they gave us a list of different items based on what we were interested in. And right now, we're interested in having them work on our personnel policy. When we met with them, they did mention there are things in our personnel policy that are not compliant and need to be addressed. And our policy in general, I think, is a little messy. But I don't have legal expertise. Jan doesn't have the legal expertise to say what is good and what's not anymore. I have a feeling that the whole thing was copied and pasted from somewhere else based on what I see other libraries have the same exact thing with, alterations like we do throughout the years. So I think it needs an overhaul. I think they would be a good choice because if they don't do it right and mislead us on the policy, it's their insurance firm that's going to be paying out for the mistake.
Okay.
And so basically they have a process where they would come in. Well, they wouldn't come in at this point because everything's virtual, but they would work with, whoever wants to be involved on our end to find out what, we want to be in there and come up with something and propose a new policy and work with us on what we want that to be.
Just for due diligence, do you know any other people that have used this company?
They work with all government entities, so townships, counties, libraries, et cetera. At home with me, because that's where I'm calling in from, I don't have that information with me. It's in the file that's on my desk. Sorry about that.
Okay, well, I'm just because they're the first ones to knock on your door and offer the services.
Actually, we approached them, and we have, over a year ago, pre-COVID, we had looked at several other firms as
Okay.
well.
That you just said what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. But if you're comfortable with their credentials, that was for how many dollars?
That is estimated to be $3,500 to $5,000.
And Lindsay, what's your limit? 5,000?
3,500.
3,500. Okay. So you do need our approval, I guess.
Yes.
So gang, what do you think?
So if we need the assistance and you guys think it's the best,
Well, it's a good,
So they're saying it's gonna be between 3,500 and 5,000, and then we're paying them for their travel time and all that stuff too, right? And there are other fees, right?
So travel time, I think, would be out because they're not physically going to come here at this point.
I know, but eventually they have to come and do interviews.
That's if we go with the rest of
With the other of
the other
plan.
pieces.
Okay. So if they're just gonna look at the policy and procedure manual, that's it.
Correct. And that all is teleconferencing.
Okay. But they can't narrow it down between 35 and 5,000.
No, because they need to have our policy and they need to comb through it and compare it to, all the legal things, especially all the stuff that came through, since COVID. None of that's addressed in there at all. So if there's anything that is permanent, or even if we have to have it in there on a temporary basis, none of that is in our personnel policy.
Got it. Thank you, Jan.
Mhm.
Anybody else? I personally like the idea. We got Jan and Lindsay who are not experts in this area, and they're calling in experts to make us all be able to sleep at night a little bit better, knowing that we've caught up to the letter of the law regarding personnel policy. And I know that can get tricky.
No doubt.
So we're gonna need a motion to spend this money.
Kevin, so moved.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay. So that's good. You can go forward with that. Now we're on to the minimum wage discussion.
So this is just something I wanted to bring up. We don't need any action on this tonight, but if you've been watching the news at all, I'm sure you've heard that the $15 minimum wage for federal minimum wage is being thrown around. When it first came out, I had a little heart attack because it didn't include any tiered move to $15. It's like, we're doing $15 because that will help in COVID. And our budget would not really support that very well at the moment. So I think the most helpful, this came from the Office of Budget Management, I think. Now I can't find where I wrote that down. This came from the Education and Labor Committee from the House. And it basically breaks down what they're proposing. And my feeling is that they're going to get it through one way or another. But starting in 2021, it would go up to $950. We'd be fine there. 2022, it goes up to 11. Again, we're still fine. Our lowest salary is $11.75. But then when we hit 2023, it's up to $12.50. So just something to keep in mind that we're going to have to think about salary seriously later this year. The biggest thing will be not getting those minimum people up, but then if you want everybody else to not go out the door, everybody else then is going to have to be moved up too, because we can't have everybody making the same amount of money for various degrees of education and experience and things. And so the whole scale is probably going to have to be looked at. How we approach that, if it's, percentage, a set dollar amount, I don't know, but I wanted to throw that out just so people can start kind of mulling that over and maybe hearing if, somebody else in the community says, oh, this is how we're going to approach it. Just listening what other people are doing and keep your ears to the ground for the next few months.
What year is our next levy?
23.
Very timely.
Yeah.
I just read an email from the county commissioners, and at the courthouse, we got a 2.5% raise to everyone making over $28 an hour. But if you make under $28 an hour, then your raise is $1. And they've done that before, and there's a name for that concept of, trying to bring, so like if you're making $30 an hour, you get a 30-cent raise an hour. So and if you're making $10 an hour, which I'm sure no one is making $10 an hour, but you would get $1 raise. So then you go up to 11.
Which is a 10% raise. Yeah.
And that, makes sense because did you say 2.5 is a lot less significant at $10?
Correct. Yeah, it is. So, well, anyways, there's a name for that, but I can't remember the phrase. So, but that's how they're starting to, and it's not the first year they've done it like that. Usually it's 3%, but this year it's 2.5. So that's it.
Okay. Anything more on this subject, Lindsay?
No, like I said, I just wanted to get it out in front of everyone so nobody's caught off guard or anything, and we can listen and hear what other people are doing, like Jane just brought up, and sometimes that's helpful.
Okay. Then the library trustee workshop.
And this is just a FYI for all of you, that OLC is having a trustee workshop as they normally do. And this year it is virtual. So if you've not wanted to go before because you didn't want to drive to Columbus, well, you can sit in the comfort of your own home and Zoom in. The library will pay registration fees if you wish to go. Every OLC workshop I've done has been super helpful. They normally have things very well structured and great content. The director's workshop I did was really, really, really helpful. So if anyone's on the fence about it, I recommend definitely going.
I personally went to this, in person, of course, many years ago, whenever I first started, and it was a day worth spending. And I don't know how many of our members now have not gone through a trustee workshop, but I do highly recommend sitting through this thing. I was really fascinated with the legal portion of it. And we got into a long topic about, a long discussion about just recording the minutes of a meeting or not recording them, with a tape player. And then just have the minutes referring to the tape to make the job easier and a little bit more absolute. But there's a lot of pluses and minuses to that. Anyway, I remembered that. It stuck in my head. But I'm going to say, Lindsay, I think I'd like to do this. I wrote it down on my calendar. And I'd like to go through this again. So
All right, I will get you registered.
Okay. And this workshop, a couple of pages, is there a way you can just send me those 2 pages instead of this long string?
They should have been in your first thing, but yeah, I can send you that again, or the link from where it's a printout from the website. I can send you the link in
Okay.
the separate.
Okay.
When possible, can we get all our faces back on?
We can.
There you go.
It's really dry. Okay, thanks.
Well, you've gotten tiny. What's happened?
Oh, I did. Oh, you know what? I turned it around so I could read the
Oh,
stuff
there
better.
you go.
There you go.
There you go.
And there was a last minute addition to the agenda also.
What was that?
It's not printed on yours, but
Oh, Kevin.
Meals on Medicine.
There was a meeting this morning. There's a couple more meetings scheduled if anybody else wants to go. But the Meals on Madison is going to go forward. And right now it's a 4-year plan that they plan to continue it. There's talk about other things too, but basically they're going to have a really nice big stage that's been provided by a major company. There's going to be sponsorship opportunities, and they want to increase children's activities. Last year they had some cornhole, they had some sidewalk chalk, they did a couple other things here and there. This year they were thinking about having Terry come on the stage and doing story time. They're looking to hire a coordinator to do something more than that. I thought this would be a good opportunity for the library to get their name out to some people that might not come as often, and a good way to reach out to the community for the children too. And I think Terry would really like to be able to have some live speaking engagements as well. And in that case, she'd be up on the stage. Everybody that's down below is socially distanced. So there's a lot of good opportunities here. And I just think it's a chance for the library to jump in there, but obviously we don't want to spend a ton of money doing it either. So I told the mayor I'd bring it to the board's attention, and then maybe we could come up with something.
Sounds great.
I just hope that if Terry's going to be on stage, she's up there late August when my tomatoes have come fully grown.
Oh, boy.
You can pass that word on if you would.
She's always been a rock star anyways. She might as well get on the stage. So,
Yeah.
She might have her Leonard Skinner shirt on while she does it.
yeah,
So
that's good. That's good.
What did we do with the library budget dollars for like, I can't remember all their names, but there's like the Zach guy that would come and do like the comedy show. There was a juggler. This could be an opportunity to bring some of those things back maybe too, because you have the open air environment. The seagulls are going to poop on them though. So there's that.
So most of that is sponsored. Pretty much all of that's paid for by the Friends of the Library. So we didn't really do anything with that budget. The Friends are on a reimbursement basis. So once we spend it, you know, they say we can have up to this year, I think it's $17,500. And so we give them a receipt, they reimburse us. But right now we're working on a few performers for the summer that will do either virtual or in person. So we're limiting that because the virtual stuff's not getting many hits. But if we had a stage like that, perhaps it would.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's a nice big stage. It's going to be covered. It's got a whole sound system. I mean, it's
Yeah, I
going to
know
take up
they're
the
working with
whole-
Live Nation,
whole
right?
width of yeah, that's the company. And it's going to take up the whole width of the street. So it's pretty big.
This is interesting.
Yeah, Mike Snyder called me this afternoon too to tell me he was apparently supposed to talk to me before you did and felt bad, but
Oh. Well, he did. He talked to you before I did. I didn't talk to you.
he
till
talked to me after you did, but that's all right. But yeah, I think we can probably work something out.
That's all I have. Just wanted to pass it along.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Anybody have anything else? As they say, for the good of the order.
It's good to see your faces.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay,
we
Throw one thing out there real quick. This was just interesting. Last year was the first year for the Dora, you know, the drinking cups, and they sold 80,000 cups in the COVID. The first year for Toledo without COVID, Toledo sold 100,000 cups. So that's
Wow.
pretty impressive for little Port Clinton.
wow.
Uh-huh.
We do have drinking records here.
Maybe that's not as impressive. But
Absolutely.
I myself have 8 cups.
All right. So, well, we need a motion to close this meeting. Now that we
So
heard from
moved.
Kevin. Okay, we need a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
Marianne.
all in favor, shut down.
Bye.